3 words could empty a room faster than a whole breach alarm. Tessic had learned this truth during his first week, working alongside humans. Whenever one of them said, "I've got this," smart beings found somewhere else to be. Tessic was a Qualari, tall and thin with pale blue skin and 4 arms that he kept folded nervously against his chest. He served as a junior trade envoy sent to Orbital Station Harmony 7 for the most important negotiations of his career. 3 species were meeting to divide mining rights in the Amber Nebula. War seemed likely if they failed. He was reviewing his notes in the corridor when he heard those words. "Don't worry, I've got this." Tessic looked up. A human male in a dirty maintenance uniform was arguing with a station repair drone about a coolant leak. The human had brown hair, tired eyes, and grease stains on his hands. His name tag read Dale Cooper. Environmental Systems. The drone beeped. In protest, Dale waved it away and opened a wall panel, reaching into the machinery with his bare hands. Tessic Snort stepped back. He had read the reports about humans. They came from a death world called Earth, where the gravity was crushing, the predators were endless, and the weather could kill in minutes. Humans survived by being stubborn, creative, and absolutely certain they could handle anything. This confidence terrified the galaxy. Before Tessic could retreat further, an alarm screamed through the station. Red lights flashed. A voice announced lockdown protocols. "What is happening?" Tess asked the nearest guard. "Murder," the guard said. "Ambassador Sullen is dead. Found in the water garden with his throat cut." Tessic felt his blood run cold. Ambassador Sullen was the Vorian representative. Without him, the negotiations would collapse. 3 fleets were waiting at the edge of the system, ready to fight over the nebula. The next hour was chaos. Delegates shouted at each other. Security teams rushed through the corridors. Station commander, a man, Thari female, named Overseer Keth, tried to maintain order, but the station's AI security system had gone dark. They were blind. "We need to restore the monitoring systems," Overseer Keth announced to the gathered delegates. "Without them, we cannot find the killer or protect anyone. Send your own people." A Qualari diplomat snapped. "My people are guarding the reactor." Keith replied, "I need volunteers." Silence. No one moved. 3 species glared at each other with suspicion and fear. Then Dale Cooper raised his hand. "I can get the systems back online. I know the maintenance tunnels better than anyone." Overseer Keth studied him. "You are certain?" Dale shrugged. "Don't worry, I got this." Tessic watched the other species flinch. A Vorian diplomat actually covered his face with his wings, but no one else volunteered, so Dale grabbed his toolkit and headed for the nearest access hatch. Tessic surprised himself by following. "What are you doing?" Dale asked as Tessic caught up. "I cannot sit and wait for others to decide my fate." Tess said, "I'm coming with you." Dale studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Stay close. Don't touch anything I don't tell you to touch." They crawled into the maintenance tunnels. The space was dark and tight, barely large enough for Tessic to fit, but Dale moved through the blackness with ease, navigating by memory and touch. "How can you see?" Tess whispered. "I can't," Dale admitted, "but I've walked these tunnels 100 times. Your eyes adjust, your other senses take over." Tess tried to understand. On his world, darkness meant danger, but humans had evolved to hunt in darkness to track, prey for days without rest to survive. Conditions that would kill most species. They reached the first junction box. Dale opened it and examined the circuits. With a small light, this wasn't a malfunction, he said quietly. What do you mean? Dale pointed at the wiring. Even Tessic could see the clean cuts. Someone disabled the security system on purpose, and they did it from inside. The killer is still here, Tessic felt. Fear crawl up his spine. Somewhere in this station a murderer was hiding, and Tessic had just crawled into the dark places where such a being might wait. Dale closed the panel and kept moving. Should we go back? Tess asked. Tell the others? Not yet. I want to see how bad this is. If they cut the system in multiple places, that means this was planned. That means the assassination wasn't random. They found 2 more junction boxes. Both have been sabotaged. A conspiracy. Tessic breath. But who and what? Dale sat back on his heels, thinking in the dim light. His face looked older, more tired than before. Someone wants war, Dale said. Someone profits from the Amber Nebula staying contested, and they just removed the one ambassador who might have made peace work. He stood and started moving again, faster now. Where are we going? Tessic asked, struggling to keep up. Communications hub. If someone planned this, they're talking to someone outside the station. I want to find out who. Tessic followed the human deeper into the darkness. Behind them, diplomats argued and accused each other of murder, but down here in the spaces between the walls, 2 unlikely allies were hunting for truth. Dale Cooper was just a maintenance worker, but Tessic was beginning to understand why the galaxy feared those 3 words. When a human said, "I've got this," they meant it, whatever the cost. Darkness had a sound. Tessic had never noticed this before. In the maintenance tunnels of Harmony 7, he could hear the station breathing. Pipes groaned, air whispered through vents somewhere far away. Machinery hummed with endless patience. Dale moved through this darkness like he belonged to it. Your species, Tess whispered. You hunted at night. Sometimes, Dale replied without stopping. Mostly we just outlasted things. Humans are persistence predators. We followed prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Nothing could outrun us forever. Tessic shivered. He had 4 arms and legs built for climbing, but he was already tired. Dale had been crawling for an hour without rest. They reached a wider tunnel. 3 paths met. Dale stopped and held up his hand. Someone else is here. Tess froze. His eyes strained against the dark but saw nothing. Then a shape dropped from above. Tessic screamed and fell backward. Dale grabbed a wrench and swung. The attacker caught the wrench in one clawed hand. Calm yourself, human. I am not your enemy. She was Manthari. Her body was covered in hard plates like armor. Her eyes glowed faintly green. She had 4 arms, 2 ending in hands, and 2 in sharp blades. I am security Officer Crix, she said. My delegation sent me to find the truth. Dale lowered his wrench slowly, and they sent you alone into the tunnels. I volunteered. Unlike your species, mine does not fear the dark. We don't fear it either, Dale said. We just respect it. Crix made a sound that might have been laughter. Then we understand each other. I found the same sabotage you did. 3 junction boxes all cut from inside. We're heading to the communications hub, Dale said. Someone on this station is talking to the outside. I want to know who. Crix tilted her head, studying him. You were just a Maintenance worker, why do you care? About politics and murder, Dale was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer. My wife died 2 years ago, cancer. I requested this posting because I want to be far from Earth, far from memories, but I've learned that running doesn't help. The only thing that helps is doing something useful. He started walking again. Finding a killer seems useful enough. Tessic and Crix exchanged a look, then followed. The communications hub was located near the station's outer ring. They had to crawl through 3 more tunnel sections to reach it. By the time they arrived, Tessic's arms ached and his lungs burned. But what they found made him forget his pain. A hidden antenna array connected to the station's main communications. Through a dozen illegal taps, someone had built a secret relay, bouncing signals to an unknown receiver far outside the system. This is Milidarira equipment, Crix said, examining the hardware. Expensive, untraceable. Not untraceable. Dale said he had already opened a panel and was studying the circuits. Everything leaves a trail. I just need to find it. Tessic watched him work. Dale's hands moved with confidence, pulling wires and checking connections. He was not a diplomat or a soldier. He was a man who fixed broken things. After 10 minutes, Dale sat back. The signal goes to the Amber Nebula, specifically to a corporate station owned by the Meridian Consortium, a weapons manufacturer. Crix said. Her voice had gone cold. They supply all 3 sides of this conflict. Tessic realized if war breaks out, they profit from everyone, not just profit. Dale said the Amber Nebula has rare minerals needed for advanced weapons. If the peace talks fail and war destroys the local governments, Meridian could move in and claim everything. The truth was ugly and simple. Someone had killed Ambassador Sullen to start a war, and they were still on the station, still working to make sure peace never happened. We need to tell the delegations, Tessic said. They won't believe us, Crix replied. They already suspect each other. Anything we say will sound like a trick. Then we need proof. Dale said. We need to catch the killer in the act. Crix's antennae twitched. And how do you suggest we do that? Dale smiled. It was not a happy smile. I've got a plan. Crix's antenna went flat against her head. Tessic had spent enough time around Manthari to recognize the expression pure dread when humans say those words. Crix said slowly, my people have learned to prepare for disaster. That's not fair, Dale replied. Most of my plans work. Most. Dale was already moving toward the next tunnel. Come on, we need to get to the Water Reclamation Center. Why there? Tessic asked. Because that's where I'd hide if I were killer trying to avoid detection. Humidity messes with sensors. Lots of places to disappear. And it's close to the diplomatic level if you need to strike again. They followed him into the darkness once more. Tessic wondered if this was how humans had conquered their death world, not through strength or technology, but through the simple refusal to stop moving forward. No matter what waited ahead, it was terrifying. It was also strangely inspiring. Blood floated in the humid air like red mist. The Water Reclamation Center was a maze of tanks and pipes. And somewhere in that maze, someone was dying. Dale found her first. She was Kari like Tessic, female, young, wearing the formal robes of a diplomatic aide. She lay crumpled behind a filtration tank, one arm bent at a wrong angle. Blue blood pooling beneath her, but she was breathing. Over here, Dale called. Softly, she's alive. Tessic rushed forward and gasped, that is Prita. She was Ambassador's son. She was supposed to have dinner with him the night he died. Prita's eyes opened. They were filled with pain and fear. The killer. She whispered, I saw the killer. Craigs knelt beside her, checking the wound in her side. Save your strength. We will get you medical help. No, Pa. Grabbed Dale's arm with surprising strength. You must know, the killer wore a maintenance uniform, human insignia, brown hair, male. Everyone looked at Dale. He looked back calmly. I've been in the tunnels for 2 hours with these two. They can confirm my location. She could be wrong, Tessic said quickly. We're lying, or the killer could have disguised himself to frame humans. I know what I saw, PRA insisted. Tell us exactly what happened, Dale said. He did not seem angry or defensive. He pulled out a medical kit from his bag and began cleaning her wound with gentle hands. Pretty winced, but spoke. I saw the ambassador die. We were in the water garden discussing the negotiations. A human approached, said he needed to fix something. The ambassador turned away and the human cut his throat. I ran. He chased me here. I thought I escaped, but he found me. He would have killed me too, but he heard someone coming and fled. How long ago? Crix asked. An hour, maybe less. Dale finished bandaging her wound and examined her broken arm. I need to set this. It will hurt. Do it. He worked quickly and efficiently. PRA screamed once, then went silent, gritting her teeth. When it was done, Dale fashioned a sling from torn cloth. You help me, Priya said, confused. Why? I just accused your people of murder. You told us what you saw. That's not the same as accusing me personally. Dale sat back. Besides, if I were the killer, I'd want you dead, not healed. He makes a fair point, Crix admitted. Tessic helped her to sit up. There are other humans on this station. The killer could be any of them, or someone disguised as a human. Dale said, good makeup, the right uniform, and everyone sees what they expect to see. A sound echoed through the water reclamation center. Footsteps. Multiple people moving fast. Dale pulled Pretty behind a tank. Crix drew her blades. Tess crouched low, wishing he had any weapon at all. Point 3 figures appeared through the mist. They wore black armor and carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. Mercenaries, Crix hissed. Cleanup crew, Dale realized. They're here to eliminate witnesses. Mercenaries spread out, searching methodically. They had not seen the group yet, but it was only a matter of time. Dale looked at his companions. A wounded diplomat, a spy who had just revealed herself as an ally, a terrified trade envoy, and one human maintenance worker with a wrench. I can distract them, Dale whispered. Give you time to escape through the drainage tunnels. That is suicide, Tessic protested. Probably, Dale smiled faintly, but you need to get Prita to safety. She's the only witness. Without her, they can blame anyone they want. I will not leave you, Crix said. My people do not abandon allies. Neither do mine, Tessic added, surprising himself. Dale studied them both. Something changed in his expression, something that might have been gratitude. Fine new plan. He pointed to a series of valves along the wall. See those? They control the water pressure for the whole section. If I open them all at once, this place floods with recycled water, harmless to us, but it'll blind their sensors and give us Cover, and then Crix asked, then we. Run like hell. It was not a great plan. It was barely a plan at all, but it was. Something. Dale moved to the first valve. Tessic took the second. Crix positioned herself to carry Prita. On 3, Dale whispered, 1, 2, 3. They turned the valves together. Water exploded from every pipe. Mercenaries shouted in confusion as the room became a waterfall. In the chaos, Dale grabbed Prit's good arm and ran. Crix cut down a mercenary who stumbled into her path. Tessic ducked under a wild shot and kept moving. The drainage tunnel entrance was ahead, a dark circle in the floor. They made it one by one. They dropped into the tunnel below, water pouring down after them. Above, they heard the mercenaries cursing and regrouping. That won't stop them for long, Crix said. It doesn't have to. Dale replied, it just has to slow them down enough for us to reach the delegations. He started crawling through the tunnel, his team following. When we get there, Tessic asked, how do we convince them to work together? Dale's answer echoed back through the dark. I've got a plan. Tessic heard Crix groan that he understood completely. Nobody wanted to listen. That was the first problem. The 3 delegations had barricaded themselves in separate sections of the diplomatic level. They pointed weapons at each other through reinforced doors. They shouted accusations across hallways. They were ready to kill. Dale walked into the middle of it like he was strolling through a park. Everyone shut up, he said loudly. I have information about the real killer. Arrest that human. Qualari delegate screamed. He matches the description. So does every other human on the station. Dale replied calmly, but I'm the one trying to solve this mess, not make it worse. Tessic stepped forward, supporting PRAA. This is Ambassador Salinsade. She saw the murder. She was attacked by mercenaries trying to silence her. We barely escaped with our lives. Overseer Keth emerged from the Manthari barricade. Her compound eyes studied the group carefully. Officer Crick's report. Crick stood at attention. The assassination was planned by the Meridian Consortium. They have a secret communications array on this station. Mercenaries aboard to eliminate witnesses, and a goal of starting a war so they can claim the Amber Nebula for themselves. Silence fell over the corridor. That Avorian delegate stepped forward. His wings were folded tight against his body in distress. How do we know this is not a trick? The Manthari and Quarry working together to blame outsiders because I'm human, Dale said, and I'm the one who found the evidence. If I wanted to frame someone, I wouldn't frame my own species. Then who is the killer? Devorian demanded. I don't know yet, but I know how to find them. Dale looked at each delegation in turn. The mercenaries need to escape before this station security comes back online. That means they have a ship hidden somewhere. If we work together, we can trap them. Work together? The Quarry delegate laughed bitterly. With them, they probably planned this whole thing. We did not. Overseer Keth said coldly. Then prove it. Dale challenged. All of you prove that your species wants peace more than revenge. Nobody spoke. The tension was thick enough to taste. Then Pura pulled away from Tessic and stood on her own. I saw Ambassador Sullen die, she said. Her voice was weak but clear. He was a good man. He wanted peace. The last thing he said to me was that he hoped our children would grow up without knowing war. She looked at the Vorian delegation. He was your representative. but he cared about all of us. Honor his memory, help us find his killer. The Vorian shifted, some lowered their weapons. What do you need from us? The Vorian delegate asked finally. Dale allowed himself a small smile. The Kari have biological sensors that can detect synthetic implants. The mercenaries have combat augmentations that will show up on those sensors. Your people can track them. He turned to the Manthari. Your warriors are the best fighters on this station. I need them to guard the evacuation route so the mercenaries can't use hostages. Finally he faced the Vorans. Your architects built this station 300 years ago. You know the original blueprints better than anyone. I need you to find every possible escape route and close them. And what will you do? Overseer Keth asked. I'm going to flush them out, Dale said. The environmental systems can vent atmosphere section by section. If I do it right, I can push the mercenaries toward a single location where your warriors can capture them. Crick's antenna went flat again. You want to remove the air from the station while people are still aboard, not remove. Redirect. I'll give everyone time to evacuate each section before I vent it. But the mercenaries won't know which section is next. They'll have to keep moving and eventually they'll run out of places to hide. This plan is insane. The Quarry delegate said. Probably, Dale admitted, but it's the best chance we have. Tessich watched the delegations consider. Hours ago they had been ready to kill each other. Now they were being asked to trust their lives to a human maintenance worker with a crazy idea. Overseer Keth spoke first. The Manthari will provide warriors. The Vorian delegate nodded slowly. We will share the station blueprints. The Kari delegate hesitated, then sighed. Our sensors are at your disposal. Dale nodded. Good. We have 2 hours before the mercenaries realize we're organized. Let's move. The next hour was chaos, but it was productive chaos. Tessich watched in amazement as 3 species that have been enemies for generations worked together. Quarry technicians calibrated sensors alongside Vorian engineers. Manthari warriors took orders from a Qualari commander. Information flowed freely where suspicion had ruled before. Hey, the center of it all was Dale. He coordinated from the environmental control hub, tracking the mercenaries' movements on salvage monitors. They're moving towards Section 7, he reported. Kari team, can you confirm? Confirmed. 6 targets with synthetic augmentation. Manthari warriors moved to intercept points Beta and Gamma. Voran seal the emergency exits in that section. Done. 3 voices replied. Tessich stood beside Dale watching him work. You're good at this? Dale shrugged. I'm good at fixing broken things right now. The broken thing is trust between species. Same principles apply. Find the damage, figure out why it happened, and repair it one piece at a time. An alarm beeped on Dale's console. Section 7 is clear of civilians. Beginning atmospheric venting. On the monitor they watched the mercenary scramble as air pressure dropped around them. They ran exactly where Dale predicted, straight into the waiting arms of Manthari warriors, and 5 were captured within minutes, but the 6th disappeared. Where did they go? Crix demanded. Dale studied the blueprints. His face went pale. The main environmental control hub. They're coming here. The door behind them exploded inward. A figure in black armor stepped through, weapon raised, but this mercenary removed her helmet. she was. Human female, dark hair, cold eyes, a scar across her chin. "Hello, Dale," she said. "It's been a long time." Dale's voice was steady, but Tessic saw his hands shake. "Hello, Rita. I was wondering when you'd show up." Rita Frost had not aged well. The woman Dale remembered had been fierce but fair, a skilled pilot who had saved his life during a colony ship disaster 15 years ago. The woman standing before him now had eyes like empty space, cold and endless. "You know her," Tess whispered. "We served together," Dale said. "On the transport ship Wanderer. The engine failed mid-jump. Rita held the breech doors while I fixed the reactor." She saved 46 lives that day. 47, Rita corrected. "You always forget to count yourself." She kept her weapon train on Dale but glanced at the others, the Qualari, the Manthari, and the witness. "How convenient. I can finish this whole mission in one room. Is that what this is to you?" Dale asked. "A mission? Everything is a mission, Dale. You just chose boring ones." She stepped closer. "When the Wanderer was saved, what happened? We got medals and a handshake. Then the company that caused the accident bought its way out of punishment. Nothing changed, so you decided to change it yourself." "I decided to stop pretending the galaxy runs on fairness." Rita's voice was bitter. "The Meridian Consortium offered me a job, real money, real power. All I had to do was accept that. Peace is a lie told by people who profit from the current chaos and starting a war in the Amber Nebula helps. How? Wars are honest, Dale. Everyone knows where they stand. No one pretends to be friends while stabbing you in the back." She smiled coldly. "Besides, Meridian pays well for honesty." Crick shifted, her blades twitching. Rita swung her weapon toward the man. "Thari, don't. I have nothing against you personally, but I will kill everyone in this room if necessary." "You killed Ambassador Sullen," Pritis said. Her voice shook with rage. "A good man who only wanted peace. I killed a politician who was going to betray his own people for a better deal," Rita replied. "He was negotiating in secret with Meridian himself until he got cold feet. My employers don't like people who chain their minds." The revelation hit like a punch. Even Tessic looked shaken. "That cannot be true," Perdo whispered. "It's absolutely true. Your precious ambassador was going to sell out the Amber Nebula to the highest bidder. I just made sure he couldn't finish the deal." Rita turned back to Dale. "You see, there are no heroes in this story, just people with different prices." Dale was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was calm. "You're wrong about the ambassador. Maybe not. Politicians make compromises, but you're wrong about everything else. Enlighten me. Humans survived our death world because we worked together, not because we were the strongest or the fastest or the smartest. Because when things got hard, we helped each other. That's not a lie. That's the only truth that matters." RTO left. "Beautiful speech. Did you practice it?" "I didn't have to. I watched it happen today." Dale gestured at his companions, 3 species that were ready to kill each other this morning. Now they're working together to save this station. That's not politics. That's choice. They're working together because you manipulated them. Give it a day and they'll be back to hating each other. Maybe, or maybe they'll remember that cooperation felt better than fear. Dale took a step forward. "You used to believe in that, Rita, on the Wanderer. You didn't hold those doors for money. You did it because it was right. Something flickered in Rita's eyes, just for a second, then it was gone. That woman died a long time ago. She raised her weapon, and now so do you. The door behind Rita exploded. Manthari warriors poured in, Overseer Key at their lead. Kari technicians followed with stun weapons. Vori engineers flanked the exits. Rita spun, firing wildly. Manthari warrior fell. Another took his place. That eye in the chaos. Dale moved, not away from Rita, but toward her. He tackled her from behind, knocking the weapon from her hand. They crashed to the floor together. Rita was stronger than she looked. She twisted free and pulled a knife. Dale caught her wrist. They struggled. You can't beat me, Rita hissed. I have augmentations you can't imagine. I don't need to beat you, Dale replied. I just need to hold you. Crick's blade pressed against Rita's throat. The Manthar's voice was ice. Surrender. Rita went still. She looked up at Dale with something like wonder. You knew I would come here. You planned this. I know you, Rita. You always go for the command center. It's your style. Dale released her wrist and stepped back. I was hoping I was wrong. I was hoping you changed. Nobody changes. Dale, I did. He looked at Tessic at Krika. They did. Maybe you still can. Rita's laugh was hollow. Save the redemption arc for someone who wants it. The Manthari warriors took her into custody. She didn't resist. Yes, they led her away. Rita called back over her shoulder. There's a bomb, Dale, hidden in the station core, set to blow if I don't check in every hour. You can't find it in time. Dale smiled grimly. I already did. Disabled it while you were giving your speech. He held up a small device. You always did talk too much. Rita stared at him for the first time. She looked genuinely shocked. How did you know? I didn't know for certain. I just knew you. Dale turned away. Goodby. The door closed behind her. Tess approached Dale carefully. Are you all right? Dale looked at the device in his hand. His expression was unreadable. No, he said quietly, but I will be. 6 weeks changed everything. The diplomatic chamber of harmony. 7 had been rebuilt. New chairs, new tables, new flags representing not 3 species, but 4. The Trinary Accord was now the Quaternary Accord, and its first official act was a ceremony none of them had expected. Tessic stood in the audience, wearing formal robe for the first time in years. Beside him, Crix waited, ceremonial armor, her blades polished to a mirror shine. Pretty sat in the front row, her arms still in a sling, but her eyes bright with hope. To the center of the stage, Dale Cooper looked extremely uncomfortable for exceptional bravery and service to peace. Overseer Keth announced, the Quaternary Accord presents this combination to Dale Cooper of Earth. A medal was pinned to Dale's chest. He stood stiffly through the applause, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. After the ceremony, the delegates mingled. Old enemies share drinks. Former rivals exchanged contact information. The Amber Nebula Treaty had been signed that morning, establishing the region as a shared resource zone managed by all 4 species. The Meridian Consortium was finished. Evidence recovered from Rita's ship had exposed the full conspiracy. Executives were being arrested across 3 systems. Their mercenary forces had scattered. Peace was not guaranteed. It never was, but for the first time in a generation it seemed possible. Tessic found Dale tried to escape through side door, running away. Dale sighed, trying to These formal events make me nervous. You face down armed mercenaries. Without flinching, that was different. Mercenaries, I understand, politicians. Give me hives. Tessic laughed. In 6 weeks he had changed too. He had resigned from his government position to work directly with a new accord. His superiors had called him a traitor. He preferred the word diplomat. What will you do now? Tessic asked. Same thing I always did. Fix broken things. Tugged at his formal collar. I turned down 3 promotions this week. They want to make me head of station, security, diplomatic liaison, even ambassador. You refused all of them. I'm not a leader. I'm a guy who crawls through tunnels and notices when something's wrong. Dale finally managed to loosen his collar. The galaxy has enough people who want power. It needs more people who want to help. Approached them, moving carefully with her injured arm. I wanted to thank you, she said to Dale. Ambassador Sullen was not perfect, I know that now, but you still fought to find the truth even when the truth was complicated. Dale nodded. The truth is always complicated. That's why it matters. I have taken his position. Pritt continued. The Vorian delegation asked me to represent them. I was surprised. You shouldn't be. You're honest. You've seen the worst of politics and you still believe in peace. That's exactly what they need. Pretty smiled faintly. I hope I can live up to that. You will, Dale said, and when you need help remembering why it matters, call me. I'll remind you. Crix joined them, having finally escaped her own circle of admirers. Her new rank insignia gleamed on her armor. Security Chief, Tessic said. Congratulations. A title I did not seek, but will not refuse. Crix looked at Dale. You could have had this position. You earned it. You earn it too, and you're better suited for it. I'd be terrible at paperwork. There is considerable paperwork, Crix admitted. See, you're already ahead of me. They stood together in comfortable silence. 4 people from 4 species who had become something unexpected. Friend in alarm beeped on Dale's communicator. Coolant leak in section 14, he read. Well, duty calls a coolant leak. Tessic shook his head. After everything, you're going to fix a coolant leak. Coolant leaks are important. Ignore them long enough and they become explosions. Dale started walking toward the exit. That's true for machinery. It's true for politics. Small problems become big problems if nobody pays attention. Tessic watched him go, then made a decision. Wait. Dale stopped. What? Tessic pulled off his formal robes, revealing simple work clothes underneath. He had started wearing them a week ago, just in case. I'm coming with you. Dale raised an eyebrow. You're a diplomat now. Diplomacy happens in many places. Sometimes in fancy chambers with important speeches, sometimes in maintenance tunnels where nobody is watching. Tessa grabbed a toolkit from a nearby supply closet. I have learned that the second kind is often more honest. Dale studied him for a moment. Then he smiled. Come on then, don't touch anything I don't tell you to touch. They walked together toward the maintenance level. Behind them, Crix's voice came over the intercom. Do you require backup? Dale picked up the communicator. Negative, it's just a coolant leak. That is what you said 6 weeks ago. Then you uncovered a conspiracy and captured a mercenary team. This time it's different. I promise. Your promises concern me. Human, they laughed. Don't worry, I got this. Tessic heard Crix groan over The communicator, he understood. Completely, those 3 words still made him nervous, but as they walked into the maintenance tunnels together, Tessic realized something had changed. Not just in the galaxy, in himself. When Dale Cooper said, "I've got this," the galaxy used to brace for disaster, and sometimes disaster still came, but now, for the first time, they also believed him, because humans did not make promises lightly. They made promises they intended to keep, and when they said they would handle something, they meant it, even if handling it sometimes looked like chaos from the outside. That was the human way, messy, stubborn, unpredictable, and somehow against all odds reliable. The tunnel stretched ahead of them, dark and full of possibility. Tessic smiled and followed his friend into the unknown.